Hey guys, and welcome back to another Way Say podcast, guys. This one is going to be a very interesting one. It's a lot more closer to home, I guess I could say, in terms of me and myself dealing with religion. I mean, and knowing some persons that are straight us away from their goals in sense as it is. But this next person that is I'm going to be interviewing in this episode, I mean, he went to school with me at Harrison College, so it's something that I know who he is. I played football on the course with him as well. So I mean, stay tuned. It's a really interesting story to hear what he had to say and his whole story really. So again, stay tuned, enjoy it, hit the bell icon and subscribe down below, and have a good one on Way Say podcast. So welcome to What You Say podcast, as it is really. You reached out to me to really talk about the whole JerryJondo
JerryJondo show, you know
show,
happening. You know what I mean?
as it is on your shirt really.
I
I mean,
yeah.
first of all, I mean, I would have seen a bit of what you are doing per se on your story and what's not, but for the persons that would not know who you are and know your account really, what is this show really about or anything like that?
If I were to title the show, I would call it the JerryJondo show, the essence of my adolescence. So I basically trying to convey the lessons that I learned throughout in a way whereby I could have different characters portray the message from different angles. One that's informative, that's one character, Professor Thomas. Then one who's more of the advisor, more of like the tough love, that's the coach, Coach Tom. Then we have the storyteller, where I'm able to actually tell a story to like not have any sort of hypocrisy attached to it. So like my perspective won't be one that seems to be like, oh, why he can't talk like that? He didn't live in after I could speak from the perspective of Uncle Jerry, the old man. It's a story, like I could tell a story based on the topic. So yeah, the JerryJondo show is basically, I'd say, the essence of my adolescence.
Fair enough. I mean, that's interesting that you would have incorporated your life in a sense to how you are going about um delivering and producing this show really. But I mean, you said you had some content to bring out, so I mean, what can we expect from you in a sense besides just the introduction of these characters per se? Because I mean, your whoever follows you now may have seen a little bit of what you're doing, but
Mm-hmm.
what is going to be in this content that we can all look forward to seeing?
Okay. Well, I'd say this content, you could call it an introduction to who I am. I just decided before I enter the music chapter of my career, which is the 2020 to 2030 period, that I should at least say, you know what, here are my faults. Here's my journey to the point of the realization of why I have this new perspective of how I'm going to handle my life and my career with these upcoming decades. You know what I mean? So this coming up here is just simply me introducing myself. I don't want to give too much away, you know what I mean? But I would say it is me trying to also practice the art of vulnerability and holding, I would say, invasion of privacy in a way. Because when you live the life of someone who's a creative and an entertainer, especially on like a large platform, and your life is very accessible, you need to learn how to handle people knowing your faults as well. It's not a pretty perfect image, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my music shall start to be released from January 2021, and I assure you it will be a constant meteor shower, bro. It will be endless, you know what I mean? So when the music start, the music ain't gonna stop. That's for 10 years, and after that, you start to get the full feature length films, and then you'd see the rest after from 2040, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, you're doing music, and while what looks like, as you're explaining, would be starting as small skits per se, um, and then you want to develop it into something that's a lot more than that. But where would this inspiration have come from to dive into to this medium per se and really get into all of this? Because I mean, I mean, I don't know exactly what you were doing at Harrison College as it was, but I
But
mean, I imagine that it was nothing compared or relative at all to
hell
what
no,
you're
bro.
doing now.
I
So
went to school to
where
college, B.
exactly? So
So,
where this whole inspiration come from to start with this in true truth?
alright, so I tell you what happened. So I was first. So let's go back to Harrison, man. I did not make use of my time in secondary school. I used to leave school very early, very often. When I got my driver's license, that was the start of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And I started dabbling in weed. You know what I mean? I used to smoke some weed and stuff. I was drinking from an early age, but I used to do a lot of like stuff that would slow me down from really, you know what I mean? It was slowing me down in the lanes I was supposed to be progressing in at a
Mm-hmm.
fast pace, and it was up in the speed, up in the pace, in the avenues I wasn't even supposed to be peeping my head or putting steps into, bro. Those parts were not
Mm-hmm.
parts I was supposed to explore. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened is me leaving Harrison College. All I told myself is, yo, my brother, he was in Penn State and he used to party, frat boy, and thing. I was like, what? Man, out there, he say, bro, it's bare girls and bare this. I said, I go in America to party. That's the only reason I did SATs. I wanted to go to a state school, a state
Mm-hmm.
university to turn up. I went to there. I used some like phony degree. Like I went and I studied Chinese international business
Mm-hmm.
only because I knew that my parents would say, "Oh, he actually has big dreams and did actually invest in that."
Mm-hmm.
So that lasted for 4 months. I dropped out. You know what I mean? Disappointing my
Mm-hmm.
parents. We decided to tap into my musical element and like my actual dream was all I used to always write poetry and I used to like to write
Mm-hmm.
songs. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to Florida to study audio engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I went there is where I really started to that was where I had my change, you know what I mean? I had my epiphany. I started to realize like the path I was going on, let's either that or prison, bro. So I was like, man, I didn't come from this sort of background. There's no reason why I should try to affiliate myself with people just to look cool, to look like thug and stuff, because I wasn't cut from that cloth. You know what I mean? So I had to really be myself. That was me learning to be myself. I was able to find myself a lady out there who also changed my perspective on women, and then that changed the style of my writing. So I was writing music and stuff. Monty Love Song Avenue, profanity fell out of my vocabulary in terms of music, especially, and
Mm-hmm.
entertainment. Then my dad was telling me you should go explore the visual element of productions. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, all right. So I went to New York at the Film Academy right now. I've been
Mm-hmm.
studying there. And what happened is I was in this photography, I was doing a photography course. And we had this project where we were supposed to basically take a picture of our social group. And the way I saw it was my social group was me, myself, and I. Because
Mm-hmm.
it was like, man, all I be doing is reflecting and
Yeah.
strategizing. So I was like, man, all I really be doing is thinking back on the times pre-sobriety and all the times of me wilding and not being myself and stuff and all my past. I was just like, damn, it felt as though I was really speaking to my younger self. Like I'll be running back instances and experiences in my mind, like, damn, I wish I could speak to my younger self and tell him not to do this. But the thing is, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. My perspective
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Very
so
true.
clear.
Mm-hmm.
So then one day I was just sitting down and I hate being idle. So I had a free day and I was just, my mind was running through ideas. I was planning the marketing of this single. That was supposed to be my debut single.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized, damn, if I had a show for some reason, I just like,
Mm-hmm.
if I had a show, what would I call that? And I started to say the Jeremiah show. I was like, bro, that sound whack. I was like, the this show, the that show,
Mm-hmm.
all kind of names. And I say, so I ran on my couch and I just say, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Jerry Jondo show. I was like, all right, that's it. And I was like, what would I do? So I started
Mm-hmm.
listing all these characters based on like traits of mine. So I listed my traits and put characters over certain clusters that could
Mm-hmm.
embody those traits of me. And then after I was like, damn, I was able to come up with Uncle Jerry. That's
Mm-hmm.
the old man. The coach, which is the kind of sort of like not authoritative, but kind of rough love, like the rough advice like I'll give my brethren and thing,
Mm-hmm.
like the shout down kind of vibe, but I really trying
Yeah.
to get the best for them. And then the teacher who's like the kind of informative notes all at times. And then I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, so if I'm going to speak about anything, what would it be? So I decided why not speak about my journey that brought me to that whole level of clarity to be able to really sit down and plan that. And that's why I was able to say, well, it have to be a journey through my adolescence and it have to all like culminate to like, I guess, the essence of it. You know what I mean? Like what did I learn at the end of all that? and then that directly leads into the music. That's when the music would start.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't initially start off as like an introduction into the music. It was just trying to see a way of introducing myself to the entertainment industry. And
Mm-hmm.
as time went along, I started realizing the large amounts of music that I had. I was putting them off into different projects and different release dates I was setting out, and I was like, damn, this one coincided with like JerryJondo show. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided why not combine them in a way. So you'll get the music right after the JerryJondo show.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
as much of a backstory that really was, I mean, that is quite mind blowing because there's a lot of persons that are maybe are around our age or maybe younger that are probably dabbling in the same drug maybe or straying from the path that they can because there are many persons that go to higher schools like we went to Harrison College, Queens College, the more recognized schools that are in Barbados, and I mean some people just tend to stray off the path, and if they don't really come to the senses, I mean you had your parents and your brother maybe that would have helped you to help you to go back to the path that you need to go on to. So for a person that may not have their parent who is a bit more level headed and would help you to get back onto that straight and narrow path, what advice would you give to a person that may not have that help, really and truly?
Man, you see, that's so difficult because a lot of times, like, I've been around people who did not have the sort of, I'd say, background and like support system I have. Because
Mm-hmm.
I used to affiliate myself with people that came from tough circumstances because I thought that being in those environments and having them around me would give a certain image. And whenever I conversate with them, like most of them have like this level of stubbornness, which comes from confusion because they had to have this sort of strength to face the
Mm-hmm.
world. I never
Mm-hmm.
had to build that strength to face the world, bro. You know what I mean? They have to really
Yeah.
face the world. They have friends dying. They have
Mm-hmm.
family members dying. They've probably been involved in situations where people dying, all those
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So like me trying to tell them, hey, do this. I tried. Like when I kind of like jumped out of that avenue and those sort of like situations and hangout
Mm-hmm.
groups, those sort of social groups,
Mm-hmm.
I tried. I promise you, I tried. But like the thing is, you realize like certain people cut from certain cloth, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
speaking to people that come from, I'd say, impoverished communities and gang affiliations and stuff, all I'd say, man, the only thing I could say to them is turn to God, bro. If it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody who I'd say is like a wannabe who's not from that background that wants to go in there just to look cool,
Mm-hmm.
people who want to just to look like just trying to be someone they're not, I would
Mm-hmm.
say it's simple. They have to become aware of themselves. They have to sit down. They
Mm-hmm.
have to decide first of all, who am I? What are my
Yeah.
strengths? What are my weaknesses?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd say I got this from Warren Buffett. This was in me. This 25 goal
Mm-hmm.
plan. Set 25 goals, long term and short term. Pick
Mm-hmm.
five at a time. And when you do five, don't do any of the other goals until you finish five, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you break these goals down step by step how to achieve these goals. And that is what you should have your focus on. I would say when they set those goals, after the self-awareness period where they really sit down and think to themselves, who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? They have to
Mm-hmm.
decide what are the inhibitors, what are the impediments, what are the things that hold them back from getting those goals accomplished. It's
Mm-hmm.
people, if it's habits, behaviors, all those stuff, you have to list things that need to become sacrifices. You have to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice the fun, you have to sacrifice the short term pleasure, all that stuff. Your mentality has to be, well, now everything I do, every dollar I earn is not mine, is my grandkids' own. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the only way someone that comes like from a good foundation. Good doesn't mean you have to have all bread and all money. No, that just means
Mm-hmm.
someone
Yeah.
who has level-headed parents. You know what I mean? But they just
Yeah.
swayed by the ways of the world because we know the world is a very corrupt world. I feel like if all of the shepherds are like lost
Mm-hmm.
sheep. So like sheep of lost sheep are following the big lost sheep. It seems as though we don't really have that shepherd, bro. Because if you look at it back
Yeah.
in the day, the Bible, all those names in the Bible, the prophets, the disciples,
Mm-hmm.
they were the celebrities, you know, bro. They were the ones who were
Mm-hmm.
popping. They were the ones that kids would be like, I want to be like him. Now it's more like we ain't looking at that. We're looking at what running the airwaves, and what runs the airwaves, a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of air pollution, bro. A bunch of that, a
Yeah.
bunch of mental pollution. So I think that the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing is God, bro. Me, I think the thing that changed my life was because I came from a very religious house. I used to
Mm-hmm.
be very reluctant to engage in the practice of
Mm-hmm.
Christianity.
Yeah.
And then it came to a point when I was abroad, I had nowhere to turn, to nobody to turn to but God. You see, the thing is, it's
Mm-hmm.
not as though I'm saying, oh damn, you just pray, everything pops off. Nah, I think it's deeper
Mm-hmm.
than that. I think it's faith, because no matter what, no one, I don't know anybody that just says, oh yeah, I just did this and it came in, I just prayed, it came in, he snap of a finger. Nah, I believe prayer is
Mm-hmm.
something that adds comfort to you. And the thing is, you can't
Mm-hmm.
pray with and then laze about it. You can't just pray and sit back. Like I pray for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things,
Yep.
but then I go and I put my work in fit. So I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, I'd say, man, God is important, and also self-awareness. That's like very key, because if you out there and you,
Mm-hmm.
because the thing is, a lot of times people know themselves, they know that they know their self or themselves, whatever the word is in that case. But the problem is like they try so hard to go against what their destiny, what their GPS is. You know what I mean? They try to go
Mm-hmm.
so hard. Like, why? That's the question I always like. That, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's nothing else that I could really tell you, like, not agree with what you were saying, because I myself know a couple of persons that were in a couple of my friend groups now, but they aren't there. I'm not gonna call any names or whatever it
Mm.
is, but some people have gone and basically have been reluctant to listen to advice that the other person may have said. And I mean, and my friend, a couple of my friends, I mean, we are Christians, so I mean, we're gonna try our best. We try our best, at least, to help or advise those other persons that we can reach out to. I mean, yeah, God. I mean, you definitely cannot just pray and sit back and hope for the best, because
Mm.
it's not going to work like that. You definitely have to get out there and try to put your own spin on things. As I mean, that's just this is just us as creatives that I'm talking about. So I mean, but you still have, for anybody else that is in some deep situation, they have to then think about themselves, as you said, and try to pray to God and put in the work as well, because God is going to give you. God gives us the opportunity, the ability of choice. So if we
Yeah,
don't choose to put in the work, nothing is going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And I'm saying that's something that is very crucial in a lot of people things, and that's why a lot of people may sometimes be reluctant to even look into Christianity for it.
yeah,
But I mean, that's a long topic and a whole
yeah.
thing, really and truly. I mean, but just coming back to really and what you were saying with just you doing music and
Mhm.
leaving out the profanity and you know dealing with the whole film and the visuals now. Right now we're in, I mean, quarantine per se
Yeah,
around the whole world, and the whole world is now experiencing everything with Black Lives Matter.
yeah.
So how do you think that you would be able to incorporate what you already have, but as well as Black Lives Matter to
Right.
inform other persons, as you said, because people do need to become self-aware.
Okay. First with the with Black Lives Matter with quarantine. So the first thing, because you said quarantine, that's the first thing that jumped in my head. Like
Mm-hmm.
with the quarantine situation and Corona. All right, Corona brought a lot of stuff. That is a big part. Yeah, that's the negative part. Is the ailment, the suffering, having to go to funerals of loved ones, having to suffer, having a loss, or even having to suffer the pain of Corona. You know what I mean? But then the
Mm-hmm.
positive is all that I got. Like the only thing, thank God, I had experienced, which is a period of reflection and strategy. Able to look
Mm-hmm.
back at what has been happening, and now able to see how did this affect my present, and now in order to assure and make certain that this future occurs, what do I do? That's what I got from it. And now the thing with the Black Lives Matter, the only you see with my, if I had a, hold on, my dad's still here talking loud. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, man. That's where I get my loudness from. The man on the old other side, and I just like, bruh, I can't even think. But so with Black
Yeah.
Lives Matter, I adore the fact that people are starting to really like actually do things that like ensure and change. I believe that everyone plays a part. They have some that take the role of behind the scenes, some take the role of the
Mm-hmm.
front line. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone, I would say me when it comes to if I had a like a platform that was to the level of someone who could really make some change, I
Mm-hmm.
think that like my angle would be more to the long term effect because the short term
Mm-hmm.
effects and stuff I would make myself a number in the protest if I was able. I would have stood there. I wouldn't have to do the riots and stuff. I not rioting, bro. I don't
Mm-hmm.
nah, I ain't rioting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's real appealing if you're walking past Gucci and you
Mm-hmm.
see or your Louis Vuitton and you see people busting in. It's hard to say
Yeah.
no. But me, I would very much have to avoid rioting because if I'm a black man and we protesting for actual to be seen in different light,
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing things that they actually expect of us, bruh, is very counteractive to what we're trying to get. But if I had a
Mm-hmm.
platform, it would be more to go into the communities and try to impact the youth. And that is something that a lot of people do already that people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes they see people like Kendrick Lamar won't have to tweet anything, but like
Mm-hmm.
we won't know what he's really doing. We don't know if behind the scenes he has his Compton this or LA that or Brooklyn this or whatever these little even if it's
Mm-hmm.
sports clubs things just to distract youths from the negative elements of their surroundings to be able to like see what lane do I fall in? You know what I mean? Like am I good at painting? Am I good at singing? Am I good at drums? Am I good at track and field? Am I good at this? Am I good at that? Do I like science? Do I like chemistry? Give all these sorts of options to people who don't have the options. And whoever wants to stay, because you see, the thing is, you have to like. I heard this on an interview that Nikhil did. The dude said,
Mm-hmm.
"Control the controllables." Like, if you really think of it,
Mm-hmm.
all I can do is provide the opportunities. And then some people who are very strongly influenced by their environment, unfortunately, it would not appeal to them because they're already like they've been institutionalized, like like
Mm-hmm.
they've been imprisoned and they've been born into like a cell, which is their
Yeah.
surroundings.
Yeah.
But then they have some, like, for example, I can't lose hope on anybody if I'm able to really have a one-on-one like relationship and like an actual connection with any impoverished youth that's in the slums or the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, the hood. My dad comes from
Mm-hmm.
that. My dad is the old like my dad. I think that I used to idolize all these hood rappers, all these come up stories, and all them. The thing they had in common was most of them, not all, most of them had in common was that they was slinging dope or they was gang
Mm-hmm.
banging or this and that. My dad ain't never had to touch it. My dad went to the avenue of books and like really having his mind
Mm-hmm.
on I do not want to be here and I don't want my kids to ever feel that. I don't want them to even
Mm-hmm.
like distantly or remotely experience any sort of pain I going through now, any starvation, hunger, any deprivation of basic needs, all that. So then afterwards,
Yeah.
if I'm able to really find the next like Cleveland Thomas or a handful of them, I know what they're
Mm-hmm.
capable of. So I have a lot of faith in those communities. Almost
Mm-hmm.
all of like my biggest inspiration in terms of music, well, in terms of rapping, I'd say Kendrick. He comes from the hood, but he didn't take the avenue of gang banging, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So it have some Kendricks out there, bro. It still has some 21 Savages, I guess. You know what I mean? At least he
Mm-hmm.
like 21 Savage. If he wasn't rapping, he would be dead. You know what I mean? So at least he making the like he's a person that's institutionalized. He trying to make the
Mm-hmm.
best out of his situations. You know what I mean? We saw Nipsey try
Mm-hmm.
to make the best of his situations, or like we saw a handful of them really try to make the best of what they had, even though they had such institutionalized and limited mentalities. They try to expand and escape, but the thing is, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times they get held back, and what holds them back most of the time, beside just the environment, is prejudice. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the thing to prove people wrong in terms of oh, black people are intelligent as well. We don't have to only run track. We don't only be great at basketball. We ain't only excellent at rapping, and black we don't only kill and stuff. Like they don't want to prove people wrong in those avenues most times. You know what I mean? So sometimes it seems regressive and retrogressive to me, the whole attitude of the black man in America. But then
Mm-hmm.
like it's hard to judge. I don't judge them because I can't relate. I live in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live inside
Mm-hmm.
like in like Bed-Stuy or these spots like that. Those are like parts where it's like some really impoverished people, bro. I already sat on like subways and heard people who were even younger than me speaking in ways that I just like, damn, boy, he sound like if he had some tough times, but like I just like, damn, thank you, Jesus, and like, damn, God bless that man here, cause like I can't even judge him, man. So there's some people who be like kind of like snobbishly looking at them like, damn, they're so loud in here and they cursing and thing. I just like, bruh, at least they're like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So all I could really at this point though, before that platform develops, for me to be able to like um to really impact the youths and the communities in that way. All I could do right now, man, I don't know what I could do. All I can really do is work on myself, I guess, to become a symbol
Mm-hmm.
of like black excellence. That's all I could do to this, like right now. That's all I could do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's all most of us that are here in Barbados that are limited can really do it, as you said, because I mean, there's not much that we can do as individuals, but I mean, I guess together, once everybody has the same mentality and
Yeah.
we could achieve stuff, that's I mean, really. But I mean, you're talking about your platform. I mean, where would we expect to hear your music or see any of your visuals besides Instagram? Really, is there like a YouTube channel, any sort of thing
Yeah.
like that?
So as of right now, I have
Mm-hmm.
not had my YouTube channel created.
Mm-hmm.
That's not created as yet. I have an Instagram for my personal account, which I haven't touched in quite a while. And there are other things that are in development. I'd say the platforms that you'd be able to view my content when it becomes made available. You'd be seeing stuff from
Mm-hmm.
September of this year.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and also like you'd be able to. Twitter is not something that I'm going to have a content and stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
That would not really be too heavily explored. But I'd say the three main: Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, I just in a period of strategy and I'll say enactment and completion of some of these stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it coming though, like it was I was supposed to release from God no long, bro. I used to I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I had stuff, the amount of tunes I had that I oh god, like I had so much stuff that I had completed,
Mm-hmm.
stacked, like music videos, all these stuff just there stacked. And it was before Corona, bro. It was like, damn, I'm gonna release it, but when I had all my show filmed, I thought to myself, well, I'm gonna edit on weekends and oh hell nah, bro. That was like, bro, it was so far I had to have like it's like 5 terabytes or something of footage. So I just there like, bro, how do I? It was so much hell I went through doing this editing, and Corona came, and I was like, okay, I listed all the music I had, I listed all the this, all that, listed a bunch of stuff, and I just like was able to strategize and so able to meet the September date, man, and then the music are able to actually put that forward. You get the music on. The most common you get it on the Spotify and Apple Music. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make it available to every platform possible, every possible platform I could hit,
Mm-hmm.
and every country that I could hit. You do it. You know what I mean? It'll be a step by step thing. It's only 194/195 countries. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
my goal is simply to get about 10 people per country over the next 5 years, man. Once I get 10 people per country, like the rest of them I guess would multiply according to if it resonates with
Mm-hmm.
them. And some might like some of the numbers, it's hard to really look at numbers for me, bro. But the reality
Mm-hmm.
of things is you have to find a way of feeding yourself. You know what I mean? Clothing
Mm-hmm.
yourself, keeping yourself sheltered, paying your rent and stuff. So monetization becomes important, but that's not something that I try to focus on. Is usually just trying to get it to people so that they could really like I guess like I if they could get a level of appreciation that I was aiming for when I was thinking of the ideas, that would be great. So those platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok for JerryJondo show, you get the
Mm-hmm.
tunes on. The most basic would be Spotify and Apple.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Jerry, though those are the things that you guys can look out for when he's releasing. He said September. It is basically just started July, so I mean that shouldn't be that too far away. And I mean, there's not much that we can't really do during this year. So I mean, you guys could just wait and see. I've seen a couple of stuff that he's posted on his story. I mean, it's really interesting that you guys can go and look at. I'll plug his Instagram in the description down below, guys. But Jerry, again, welcome once again. Sorry, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, bro.
It's interesting to hear your background story and everything. I mean, because I would not have been able to necessarily. I mean, I do have you on Instagram, but that's not necessarily being as close and up and knowing what you're up to now, as you would explain here. So, I mean, thank you for sharing your story. I mean, it's
Problem, brother.
something that definitely people who can take into their own advice and their own stride, really, and just help to move on and remember that they have to put in the work themselves, and God is there as well.
Man,
So
that's how it is, bro.
it's again, yeah, that's just exactly how it is, and that's life. I mean, if you want to get anywhere in life, that's what you really have to do. So I mean, yeah, thank you for joining. I mean,
Thanks for having
guys,
me, man.
yeah,
I
no
like what you're
problem,
doing,
man.
bro. I admire it,
Yeah,
man. I see you've been doing your stuff, man. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
keep at it, man. I'm very, very proud of what you're doing, man. I like the way you had the kind of like templates you have for the interviews. That be looking dope,
uh,
bro. That be looking hard. That when I saw
yeah,
that, I was
yeah,
like, oh,
thanks, man.
that like you see, that's the appeal. Like you was able to catch my eye. I was like, that looking hard,
Hmm.
though. It was the one with Naomi. And I saw you did one with Kaitana
Yeah,
and Zav. So I was like, oh,
uh-huh.
yo, he's fresh, yeah. So yeah, bro, keep doing your thing, dog. You're looking fresh out there. And I ain't going to cap say, bro. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
man.
be a real critical man, but that there, you know what I mean? That was
Mm.
fresh. That fresh, bro. You doing your thing, dog. I see
Yeah,
your
man.
thing.
I've had enough people saying that they have like the show so far, so I intend to keep going about it. Hopefully everything will go back to normal as Corona goes along and gets over everything. So I mean, I will continue, and hopefully I can get more people onto the show as I can to help spread their story as well as make other persons aware of who they are and what they do.
Yeah, man.
But that's just what it is on What You Say podcast here, guys. I mean, but just to wrap things up here, guys, subscribe down below, as I said. Follow Jerry. His links will be in the description down below, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Hit
You
the
know
bell
what it is.
icon down below as well. And I will see you guys for another video.
All right, buddy.